Hello, friends. This is attorney Arcelio Hernandez in San Jose, Costa Rica. I frequently record videos regarding several legal topics of interest for people in general, and sometimes especially for people who are expatriates, expats, for the expat community, English-speaking community who lives in Costa Rica. And this time, I'd like to talk to you about something that a few people have asked me in the past few days. And that is, what are the consequences of adultery? In other words, what difference does it make whether the reason for divorce, this is a litigious divorce, not one by common agreement, but by a lawsuit, basically. What is it? What is the significance of alleging adultery versus, for example, just being incompatible? Because Costa Rica has a reason that starting in 2020, it's not very old, it's 5 years old, um, that you can just claim that you don't understand each other, that life as a married couple has become impossible just because you have different views of the world, your mentality, your taste, you can't understand each other. It's all different. And that's enough. That's enough for obtaining a divorce. So what difference does it make? Why would you go through the problem, through the trouble of trying to prove adultery, which is not easy, when you can just claim being incompatible? You're incompatible with your spouse, and therefore that's enough of a reason to request a divorce since 2020 in Costa Rica. Well, there used to be a couple of consequences for the party found guilty of adultery in Costa Rica. And that was that not only you lost your right to request alimony, support from your spouse, but you also lost the right to marital assets. In Costa Rica, just basically very briefly, marital assets are those acquired by a prize, not for as a gift, as a donation or inheritance or a lottery, but because you bought something during the time that you were together, living together in marriage. And notice I say living together because technically, if you are separated and you buy something, you can argue that that is not a marital asset and the law protects you. So, but it used to be a consequence of adultery that the guilty partner would lose the right to request marital assets, the division, that is 50% of the value of those assets acquired through a price during the marriage. But starting in 1997, our legislature changed that. And there have been rulings by the Constitutional Court. There's one from 2001, for example, that backed this up in the sense that the guilty spouse no longer loses the right to a distribution of marital assets. So now the only consequence that remains, really, besides any moral considerations, legally speaking, the only consequence is that the guilty spouse, the spouse found guilty of adultery, will lose the right to request alimony from the other party. Okay, so that is the only real consequence as far as the law is concerned. No longer will that spouse lose the right to marital assets distribution. And there are some differences between the Canadian law and Costa Rican law and the US. I'm not completely sure about the US, but I know in Canada, because I had a case recently, and I spoke with the Canadian lawyers. We often have cases that involve international law, matters of international child restitution, things like that. So I was talking to the lawyers, and they're like, well, it doesn't matter if she committed adultery. She still has a right in Canada. She still has a right to marital assets. She still has a right to request alimony and compensation, all these things. So this is why I think it's important, especially important for the expert community to know that in Costa Rica, the guilty spouse will lose the right to request alimony, and it could happen that the adultery could happen even after the couple is separated. This is also different with regards to Canada, for example. as far as my conversation with those lawyers, again, I'm a Costa Rican lawyer, not a Canadian lawyer, not a US lawyer. So you need to consult with your Canadian or US lawyer as I speak to you as part of the English speaking expat community in Costa Rica. But from my conversation with those lawyers, it seems that in Canada, once you are separated, even if you're legally married, and let's say one of the spouses is separated and starts dating or starts another relationship, the separation itself would make it so that it is not considered adultery. And this is different in Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, as long as you're legally married, you are bound by the duty of fidelity. You have to be faithful. That is a requirement as per our law and our previous decisions by the courts. I hope this information is helpful for you. If you found this interesting, please join my channel. It's free. You won't have to pay any cost, but it will help us reach more people. You can find my website at www.bufetemussio.com. That's Bufete, like law firm, Bufete. Mussio is my second family name, Mussio.com. And you can also write to me, info@bufetemussio.com with your questions. If you'd like to write to me by WhatsApp, my number in Costa Rica is country code 506-6088-8817. That's 6088-8817. In Costa Rica, my office is in San Jose, Costa Rica, but we have cases from all over the country. And we even do some international cases, especially regarding the Hague Convention on Restitution of Children. We've been involved in quite a few cases involving this matter when one of the parents illegally retains a child when Costa Rica has become the habitual residence of that child. So we've done quite a few of those. And if you have any questions or if you need legal representation in Costa Rica, we'll be very happy to help you. And you can feel free to contact us, as I said. Thank you very much.